Hey everybody, hello and welcome. In today's video, we're talking about Lady Gaga, specifically her very first era, the Fame era. And in today's video, we're going to be showcasing some of her very first live performances. We got some music videos to get to and some interesting interviews to check out along the way as well. And before we get into today's videos, I just wanted to quickly stop and say thank you. The Lady Gaga fandom, or the Little Monsters, have been very kind with me so far. You've shared a lot of incredible links. You've given me some great insight. And I just wanted to say thanks because not every fandom is like this. Trust me, I know. I dive into all sorts of fandoms doing this thing, and some fandoms are just like super toxic and you just really never know what you're gonna walk into. And part of the reason I'm doing this deep dive is because you guys seem pretty chill. You all seem pretty nice and you all seem very eager to share some of Lady Gaga's work. You know, I don't take that lightly. I understand what it is to go out and search for links and to find earlier performances, and to me, I truly appreciate it and accept it as a gift. You know, it's special, it's sincere to me because this is something that means so much to you. This is something that's had a dramatic impact on your life. This is something that brings you direct joy. And what you want to do is just share that with somebody else. Like, that's just a beautiful thing, and I don't take it lightly. So seriously, guys, thank you so much for all of that. Okay, let's start off today's video with one of Lady Gaga's very first interviews.
Lady Gaga.
Even here, she looks super young.
Well, actually, I didn't really start in the dance scene. I started more in the dive bar scene, which is really a lot of nerdy record collecting DJs. And I started go-go dancing and giving my records to the DJs in those bars. And then as I became more well-known, it started to spread into the dance scene. And it's really, it's sick. I mean, it's club kids. There's still like a real scene down there. People have personas. The nightclubs feel like a culture. The music is underground, but it's also mainstream. I mean, it's a really cool environment.
Interesting. So it sounds like it started off very grassroots for Lady Gaga. You know, I remember that. I remember like the clubs and all that stuff from my younger days. And for those of you guys that don't know, I used to be a touring artist and a performer years ago, mostly in indie and rock and metal acts and things like that. So a lot of dance music wasn't what I was doing. Anyway, what I'm getting at here is I remember performing in a lot of these smaller clubs and the dive bars. And I just remember how gritty and how grimy, how gross they could be, but how cool they were as well. Like, they were definitely some of the grossest places you could ever imagine, you know, just random bars and clubs like in a city. And the sad fact is a lot of those places have closed down. And I remember being younger and almost hating being there sometimes just because it was so gross. And sometimes you just wanted to sleep and you were traveling too much. But part of me like really misses that. I miss the fact that a lot of those places that like I went and traveled to and played with and like enjoyed company with, like, they've closed down. You know, they're just not around anymore. The scene has definitely kind of changed. Now, I don't know if it's exactly the same for like the club scene. I don't know if the club scene is even still a thing. I don't know if people still go out clubbing or whatever, but what I do know is a lot of those clubs, those underground places that were playing pop music and had go-go dancers and stuff, like, they do that one night, and then the next night it would be like a metal show, and sometimes even in the same night. And it was always such a cool, eclectic collection of people. And I respect the fact that a lot of this was grass movement motivated. You know, just getting out there, boots in the ground, giving your stuff to people, and just being a part of the scene. Because, you know, back in the day, that's just kind of what you had to do to promote and everything, especially as an up and coming act. So, all right, very cool.
Well, and I almost feel like those are two different questions. I feel like I have always been an artist, and that I became more of an artist once I started to play out all the time downtown. But it really wasn't until I got signed to Interscope and until I got a tiny bit famous in New York that I really became more of a dance scene artist and out in the clubs than before. So I would have to say, like, right around the time when I got signed, I almost got arrested in Chicago for wearing short shorts.
What?
I was in W Magazine, cover of Women's Wear Daily. So really when I started being myself, I mean, I've always been an artist, but when I started to be just who I really am, which is a provocative exhibitionist, somebody that does things for attention pretty shamelessly, that's when I was like, okay, so just be who you are, and then that's your artistry.
Interesting. All right, so she just kind of leans right into it. She just comes out and says the quiet part out loud. She doesn't care. She's just trying to be like unapologetically authentic to who she is at this time. And a lot of what I'm seeing here from this early interview, and doesn't she look so young here too? Like, I don't have too much of a reference for, you know, Lady Gaga because I've only really ever seen her recently or noted her recently off of some of the live performances I've just seen. But I like how authentic it is. I like how she is just kind of leaning into it and being like, well, I am what I am. You know, I'm just going to keep on doing this thing. And I'm noticing like things keep ramping up and I'm doing well because of it. You know, it's in this like sphere of work, you know, especially in something that's so saturated in this subgenre. It can be like, it can be really difficult to like try and find your own niche, try and find your own perspective, your own personality, your own like face that you want to share with people. And I respect that she's just kind of like looking within and being like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna do my thing. And what's up with like getting arrested in Chicago for short shorts? Like that's what everybody wears right now. Nobody hates short shorts, all right? They're great. But unapologetically authentic here.
Well, I'm a
here we
New
go.
York Italian. My father used to play Pink Floyd, Zeppelin, Beatles, Billy Joel, Elton John records.
Hell fucking yeah, dude. All right. So she was raised on the classics here.
All the time. And he used to, we had a record player in the living room, and he used to like pick me up when I was a kid, and he would like twirl me around. And I mean,
nice.
I had a really amazing childhood. A lot of culture, a lot of meatballs, a lot of marinara, you know?
Super Italian.
Music was a big part of my family. I mean, even like, you know, listening to Andrea Bocelli over dinner, Frank Sinatra. Theater became a huge part of my life, a lot of because of that. I mean, I used to listen to the Sinatra duets like on repeat with my father all the time. And then my mother made me play piano when I was 4. It was kind of a discipline thing, and she used to say, you don't have to practice, but you got to sit there for an hour every day. You can
Oh, that's a cool approach. All right.
You can just sit there. And probably for the first couple of years, it was like, you know, I used to sit at the piano and like I'd start banging, and I was a really bad kid. And then I got bored just sitting there, so I started to play, and then I got really, really great at classical piano. So when I was 4, I started taking piano lessons, and
super young.
I really hated it at first. I mean, I enjoyed playing, but I wanted to play by ear mostly because it was faster for me. I could just like listen to something and just start playing it. Whereas reading music was more disciplined. I had to like, you know, learn the notes. And so I hated practicing, but my mom used to say like, don't move. Like you sit there for an hour, you can either like practice your scales or you could do nothing. So I used to be, you know, a real asshole and sit there and like start banging, or I would just like, you know, do that. And eventually I got bored, so I just started to play, and I got really, really good. And I got really good very fast. And that's how I am. If I'm not very good at something right away, I don't want to do it. There I go with my finger.
All right. Yeah, the Italian thing, okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. My wife is Irish-Italian, pretty much split right down the middle, or maybe more Irish, I don't know. But like going to like her family and seeing like her family that's like 100% Italian compared to whatever the fuck I am. I think I'm just a mutt. But like it's always been wild to me, like super theatric, very dramatic, you know, like some of the stereotypes are true, like not really negative ones, but they do. They talk with their hands, they talk with emotion, they talk with vibrato. They bring a lot to the conversation often, whereas I can be a little more quiet sometimes. But I can just sit back and just watch, man. It's super entertaining. But theatrical people for sure. Very loving, comparing, and intense people. And okay, that explains some of Lady Gaga's tendencies a little bit. And that's cool that she like started playing at such a young age, and her mother kind of forced her to do it. That's dangerous, in the world of music or anything. Honestly, if your parents force you to do something, and like you have to sit there and do it, like a lot of times later in life, you're like, I'm never fucking doing that again. Like you kind of, walk away from it or whatever, just because it was almost viewed as a punishment or something that wasn't enjoyable. I'm glad she took to it. I totally understand the like not like being immediately great at something, so giving it up right away. I think we all do that. But okay, this is a pretty cool, candid little interview here. What does an Italian New Yorker mean to you?
What does that not mean to me? It's everything. It's who I am. It's culture, it's family, it's my heritage, it's my fashion sense. I'm inspired by the street, but I'm also like obsessed with the gangster mob princess and the
gangster mob princess
and Scarface. And I mean, that's not Italian, but you know what I'm saying. The casinos and the gaudiness, and it all really plays into the concept of my album, The Fame, because for me, Italians and that sort of gaudy culture is a way of self-proclaiming your own fame without, $8 million.
Okay.
Well, I was gonna go to, was it Juilliard or Manhattan School? I think it was Juilliard. I was really interested in going there for this like weekend
Oh, okay.
pre-college program, and I actually got like
Not an easy school to get accepted into. She was saying it all nonchalantly, and I'm like, okay, it was a weekend program. That makes more sense.
really nervous before my audition and decided
Right.
to go to acting school, which actually
Oh, really?
ended up being better because so much of what I do now is persona related, and Lady Gaga, me, it became who I am now, but it was like it was a self-discovery that really was found through acting and sense memory and figuring out, I mean, like things like, certain positions and dance moves that I would do would resonate more with me than others. Like I suck at ballet, but I was excellent at jazz and theater.
Oh, speaking of jazz and theater, I was literally just talking to somebody today on Patreon or sent a message back, and they asked me, they said, are you going to do all of like the side albums or whatever? She does a jazz album. That kind of blew my mind. I didn't know she actually did a jazz album. And yeah, 100% I'll be doing that. I fucking love jazz. All right, fashion influences. Here we go.
The artists that for me have been the most influential, I mean, like Madonna, David Bowie. I mean,
Yeah.
Of course I love them for their music. And not to sound vain or shallow, but I'm almost more appreciative of their work because of their visuals. I mean,
Really?
it completely changes the way that you listen to the music. I moved to the Lower East Side when I was 18. I moved to East Village, and then Lower East Side when I was 19. And everybody dressed different, everybody talked different, everybody's swagger was different, and I'm somebody that likes to experiment with different things, so I bought a lot of leather and a lot of sequins, and I started making, I was go-go dancing for fun, so I started making my costumes because it was cheaper and also fun. And it's a really big influence on the music because I sing about the lifestyle. I'm not making underground music. I'm making pop records about an underground lifestyle. That's the difference.
Interesting. That actually kind of explains a little bit, about like, what's that song, Rich, Dirty, Famous or whatever? I'm sorry, I forget the name of it. Like, it kind of had that feel to it. It was like a polished version of like the gritty underground. It kind of felt like a little bit. All right, that's kind of putting things a little bit into perspective. The David Bowie, like Elton John thing, like I grew up on that music as well. And I heard the music before I ever saw the album covers or knew the imagery, just as a young child. And it did kind of change what I thought of that music as I got older and started to discover like, oh, they're doing some crazy stuff. Like they got these wild and wacky looks. I've never been a fashion expert. I don't know shit about about fashion at all. I've always found it interesting. I've tried to like buy cool stuff and make myself look cool, but like every time I always just end up looking like a nerd. So like I have no fashion sense, but I respect the art form and like the talent that goes behind it. But diving into Lady Gaga, I know we'd have to like deep dive into fashion, and I know I'm going to learn some shit. Hip hop fashion,
No,
huh?
it's not. It was definitely the Lower East Side. There's like a little bit of a metal glam scene, and I started to sort of take elements from that I liked. The rock star's girlfriend. That was the real beginning of my fashion. It was not so much I want to be the greatest rock and roll band that ever lived. I wanted to be the greatest rock and roll band that ever lived, lead singer's girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
That's what I wanted to. I wanted to be the girl backstage at the Motley Crue concert in the feather dress doing Nikki Sixx's eyeliner. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
it was just kind of different. But I'm also obsessed with Versace, Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana, Fendi, Valentino. I mean, like delicious fabrics and cuts and silhouettes and the way that you can change the way a woman's body looks, the voodoo. I mean, that stuff is my life. So it's how do you make $5 look like $5 grand? How do you feel like $5,000 when you've got $5 in your pocket.
Gotta get
and
creative.
I'm not like, I wasn't a poor kid, but I said, Daddy, I want to be a rock star. He said, go be a rock star, you know? So I figured it out. And in downtown New York, and really in New York everywhere, really in the world, you have the ability to self-proclaim your own fame. You have the ability to experience and feel a certain amount of self-worth that comes from a very vain place.
Okay, good.
By simply like your choices, your opinions about fashion, your opinions about music, your opinions about politics, the way that you walk down the street, the way that you carry yourself at parties. I mean, you can literally choose to have fame. And that's what this whole album is about. And I really, honestly do not care a tiny bit what people think about it, because I'm not posturing that it's good or that it's bad. I'm struggling with the idea, and it's affected my life in the most positive way. I mean, if anyone said, who is Lady Gaga, I would be okay with, she is the most impressive con artist of fame.
Wow.
I mean, I literally trick people every day into believing that I'm somebody, and I'm not.
Oh my God. Talk about self-aware right here. She thinks that she's just conning people. And I get she's very young, and like this happens all the time with imposter syndrome. And when good things start to happen, you feel like it just doesn't, you know, you got lucky or something like that. That is kind of crazy. That is definitely kind of crazy. You know, something else she said that was interesting too was like, she says that the concept behind the fame is the idea of struggling with it. And that's kind of the vibe that I got from the fame in general anyway, was it felt like a struggle, like this inner conflict that she had with the idea of what fame could be. On one hand, like she was chasing some sort of lofty goal and she wanted something, you know, very deliberate. And then on the other side of things, she was like, oh man, it's so easy to get corrupted and I don't like this side of it. And, you know, maybe I don't belong. And it does. It feels like a real conflict. So her calling it a struggle makes perfect sense.
I mean, look at Paris Hilton, right? She's like, I mean, I love her, and I'll tell you why I love her. Because she is a rich girl who's done nothing, but everybody in the world knows this chick's name. How did she do it? She chose it. She
Well,
took
not
it.
really.
It's like, I mean, there's...
I think her dad shows it, but all right. Well, she did like the reality shows and stuff, but maybe she wouldn't have been given that chance and such. I get what Lady Gaga is saying here. You can go out and make your own, you know, your own path and stuff, but it doesn't just like happen instantaneously. Like you have to work for it. If that's what you want, you can do it. You got to 100% do it. You might not reach all of your goals, but like you got to work for it. You know what I mean? You got to do what she did. You have to be on the underground, handing out your records. You have to continuously keep playing, mastering your craft, getting better at it, practicing your instruments, or whatever the case is for whatever sort of fame that you're trying to reach. And in the end, you might not reach your ultimate goal of like ultimate fame or something, but I feel like now more than ever, it's easier to be recognized for something or to have some sort of fame, just strictly due to how the internet works, you know. And the internet existed in 2008, obviously, but like, I don't know. I feel like we've come a long way in the past, what, like 15 or so years. Like, it's kind of crazy.
There's all of these socialites, the underground, but I'm using an example like that because it's something that everybody can relate to. They know who she is.
Oh,
For me,
okay.
it was going out downtown.
Yeah.
And realizing that there was a social class, a small one. I mean, there was literally like the top tier of Rivington Street, and I'm like, who are these kids? Who the hell do they think they are? But that's exactly it. It's the nerve. All you gotta have is nerve. That's the one thing that keeps me up at night. I say to myself, who the hell am I to do what I do? Why do I deserve this? Who am I to do this? And
there's a real conflict here.
then I remember that I'm talented. And then I remember that I'm actually very good at what I do. I'm extremely educated, but that's not something that I'm not like one to like be defensive about my work. It is what it is. You either love it or you don't. Most people like it. But yeah, I mean, it's about taking pop culture and taking the media and using it in a positive way. Look at Perez Hilton, for example. You know, he completely grabbed fame by the vocal cords and choked the world using fame, using people's obsession with the celebrity. I mean, why?
I have no idea who
really
that is.
Cares, right? Why do we care so much?
She's like just curious by the idea of like fame itself. She's like, why do people care? Why are people like so into this? It's kind of funny. It's like a case study on it. The history of Lady Gaga. Okay, here we go.
Okay. Well, I started playing piano when I was 4. Around, about, I'd say 12. I was in a boutique in New York, and I was singing a Backstreet Boys record. I forgot. I think it was I Want It That Way. I think that was it. So I was singing this Backstreet Boys record, and the guy that worked in the store, Evan, I still remember his name. I haven't seen him in 800 years. He goes, "Are you a singer?" And I said, "No, I was like," and I'm 12 years old. Like, what am I doing in a boutique after school? It was just kind of one of those really random moments. And he said, "Well, you've got a really great voice. I think, maybe you should call my uncle. My uncle, he teaches voice." His uncle was Don Lawrence.
No fucking
Anybody
way.
in the business who knows about music teachers knows
What?
that Don Lawrence is by
What are the
far
odds?
the best teacher in the world. So he had
Infamous, fucking infamous. That man has shaped more in the music industry than I think people will ever realize. You just happen to be her uncle. What? That is kind of crazy.
no room between Mick Jagger, Bono,
Yeah.
Christina Aguilera, you name it.
The list goes on,
He gave
too.
him a voice.
I think
Or
he's still
at
doing it
least,
to this day.
He was,
I don't know. I haven't
working
heard
with
from him in a
on
while.
the tour. So anyway, I started working with him. He was my mentor. He's still my mentor. till
Talk about a
today.
mentor.
He
Jesus
encouraged
Christ.
me to start writing music. So around 13, I started writing records, stuff on the piano in my house. So I moved from classical to pop. And I started noticing that, okay, well, the Bach chords are the same as the chords for this Mariah Carey record, right? So I just started like picking up on little things,
Start
doing
seeing some
small
patterns.
progressions. Then I started doing coffee houses. I put together a coffee house at my high school just because I wanted a place to play. I would sneak out and go to the bitter end. I would, go downtown to McDougal Street with the seniors from Regis High School just to experience the, music nightlife in New York. Then I was in a cover band when I was 16. I would do, Zeppelin records, Jefferson Airplane, U2.
Oh, shit.
And then
There's got to be some footage out there of that stuff. If anybody knows where to find that, somebody's got to have it. Somebody's got to have that sitting in some like old VHS tape that they uploaded to the internet. Let me know. I would love to see the covers.
I went to NYU for 1 year. Keep in mind, during all of this, I'm doing musicals, I'm in bands, I'm writing records, if you were my family, you did not see me for 5 years. I was out doing everything. And then I went to college for a year, and I hated it. Not the studying. I was a good student. I love to learn, but I wanted to work, and I wanted to make music. So I was in the Tisch program. I dropped out. I told my parents I'm leaving. I'm going to get an apartment and 8 jobs. And they were like, have a good time, kid.
Oh, shit.
And they were really supportive, and I really went for it. My
wow.
dad gave me a year to get signed, and I did. So then I got dropped, then I got signed again.
Yeah.
And in between the 2 record deals, I put together a variety show with me and a DJ, Lady Starlight. She was a go-go dancer. She got me into go-go dancing. I thought she looked so amazing on stage, so I just said I have to start. And it's really been a long, long journey. I don't remember not doing this. It's just always been my life. But I don't know. It's funny. People say to me, where do you want to be in 5 years? Or what are your goals? My goal is to be right here. It's like this moment, what we're doing right this second, it's to have a career. It's to be working in music, making music. I love writing for other artists. I love working with new producers. It's just, endless, and I want to inspire people. The record's called The Fame, but it could be called like The Inspiration, to be like cheesy, you know? I mean, it's really me like wanting to inspire the world with an idea.
I love the cheese factor of this
I happen
album.
to be great at music. I'm better with ideas.
Better with ideas, huh? Undeniably, there is a massive cheese factor to The Fame. Like, just from the sound design perspective, just the funny lines and everything. Like, some of it is just so over the top. And, like, I don't know. I have always appreciated that, especially from a sound design standpoint. Like, just using sounds that, like, nobody would really ever use because it sounds off or it sounds just too cheesy. You know, like, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of difficult to explain. But I always point it out in the album reactions that I do. I'm like, that is such a cheesy moment. But I love it. I love it because it takes you out of the immersion. It reminds you that like what you're listening to can be a serious topic, but it also reminds you like, have fun with this. You know, there is a beat, there is a melody, like enjoy the ride here, enjoy the flow, but like at the same time, like maybe don't take it too seriously. And there's a ton of that in this album.
Well, they're all different. Beautiful Dirty Rich I wrote in my panties, dancing around to a track in my bedroom. You know, that's one way that I write.
All right.
Other ways I write are at the piano. I'll, you know, really stick to the chords, really try to come up with really beautiful progressions. But I find that all of the, you know, quote unquote hit pop songs, if you will, are when I am like doing the dishes, not paying attention, or joking around with my friends. Let's have
Comes
some
naturally.
fun this beat. I mean, I'll just literally be doing something that's funny, and it becomes a song. I mean, it's really the best way. It's simple, it's catchy, it's hooky, it's peppy, it's snappy, you know, it's quick. And Just Dance, which is my first single, I wrote that song in honestly 10 minutes.
No
Me and
way.
the producer, Red One, who I've known before I was signed to Interscope, we did a record long before called Boys, 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 which was the record that really got me noticed. But I was so excited to be in the studio with him.
Do I need to hear that?
In LA, you know, Vincent Herbert, who signed me, got us the record plant. I felt like I was, you know, Madonna in 1985. I was like, oh my God, this is so huge. And they, you know, people were coming and asking me if I wanted something to drink. I was like, I'll get it. You know, it was just ridiculous. So I had this beautiful studio, and it's funny because we took pictures, and Red One and I don't use equipment in the room usually. We will for vocals. We'll use certain compressors and Neves and stuff, but for making the actual music, we just use MacBook Pros. So you see pictures of us in these like absolutely gorgeous, state-of-the-art, amazing, expensive studios, and the two of us are like in a corner at our laptops working.
Geez.
So we sat down, and
I wonder if she uses if she just like writes everything in MIDI format and then from there just like exports out to like you know, random patches and whatnot through the whole studio, but gets like the basic concepts and everything down through MIDI. That wouldn't surprise me if that's how it's done.
And he went literally. He's like, oh, Gaginetti. He calls me Gaginetti. He's Swedish. Well, he's Moroccan, lived in Sweden. He's got a crazy accent.
Gaginetti.
And he called me Gaginetti. And all of a sudden he says, I had this idea, and I hear do no 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 no, and I admit it, I go, I've had a little bit too much. I went right into it, and Troy, my manager, was there. And I remember being so nervous because I don't allow anybody to be in the studio while I'm writing, but I couldn't say no because he's my manager, and I'm like, I can't say no. So he was in there, and I was a little bit nervous, like, oh my God, it's the first time he's seeing me write. But we wrote that record in 2 seconds. Vincent Herbert walked in. He was like, oh my God, that's it. Leah Landon, who I work with too, she's my other manager, she came in and she was like, play that dance one. I want to hear that dance one again. I mean, it was instant. Everybody went crazy. And Akon, you know, who we did the record with too.
What? Akon?
He's such a down-to-earth guy, and for me, it was like, he's like the most worldly, like, cultured. He's like a hip hop R&B guy, you know.
Yeah.
For him to be into my stuff, like a white chick from New York who does like dance music, disco, pop, I was like, I don't know what he's gonna think of this. And when we started working on it, he really was into it. And he was like, that's it. Everybody just knew this is it. This is the one. And the record that took me 10 minutes, you know?
Wow. Sometimes it just comes to you naturally. Oh, here we go.
Well, my music is pretty much a reflection of my transition from New York uptown to New York downtown and all the things that I've discovered. And it's everything, you know, it's pop, it's a little bit, you know, hip hop R&B, it's got dance elements, it's got electro. I rap sometimes, I sing, you know, I do everything. It's really, it's about my journey. It's really heavily influenced by fashion and lifestyle, and it's new. It's Lady Gaga. It is absolutely 100% a concoction of my love of 70s glamour, 80s synth sounds, dance, club fever, disco. A lot of my melodies have a real 50s Beatles quality.
You know what? I guess they do.
Glamour, filth, rock and roll. It's got, I mean, Boys, Boys, Boys is a metal song trapped in a pop star's body. I mean, I think about everything when I'm writing, but I'm constantly being influenced by different things. I'm like a little sponge. So it's pop. But for me, pop is the new underground. Everybody said goodbye to it for a little bit, and we started to really start bowing down to all of these rising indie acts. But I feel that I don't feel that there's anything wrong with the major label music machine. I remember standing outside of TRL with, you know, In Sync and Britney written all over my face, crying because if I could see her hand, you know what I mean? That you can't buy that. It is so intense to be a super fan.
That's
true.
Granted,
I was the same way at the Neil Young concert, you know what I mean? But it's like, I feel that it's been lost a little bit. I don't know if artists are lazy and they don't care about how they dress or what it is, or if it's you can't download a lifestyle. You can't download an icon. You have to touch them. You have to figure, what do they eat? How do they sleep? Do they sleep like this? Are they on their side? Are they on their back? Does she sleep in sequin panties upside down with someone like, you know, fanning her with a bow? I mean, I don't know, but it's a fantasy, and it's really beautiful and really special. For me, it's like my Michelangelo painting. It's like I wanna create that again. If anything, the fame and this record and my music is about recreating the pop star and giving it back.
The allure of it all, you know?
Well, my live show is like a musical. There's dancing.
Wow.
I sing live, but with the track, so it sounds like a lot like the record. I spin with a DJ. We're working with Space Cowboy right now, who's amazing. And it's like a variety show. I mean, the dance style is not hip hop. It's, you know, like late 70s jazz. It's got a little Fosse in it. It's got a little, I don't know what. I work with Lorianne Gibson. You guys know her from Bad Boy, Making the Band. Well, you might know her from everything because she's pretty much legendary. But working with her has been incredible, molding the show, because I remember when I first met her, I walked in, my hair was black. I had on see-through leopard tights with a thong.
Nice.
And like some ridiculous jacket and these huge Elton John sunglasses. And I was like, hi, Lorianne, like the nerdiest chick ever. And she looked at me and she was like, hello, Muffin. Like, oh my God, who's this girl? And then I played her my record and she goes, oh, really? That's what she said. Oh, really? And the show is really, it's intended to give you a stomach ache. I'm not trying to like just entertain anybody. I really want to bother everybody. I want everyone to go like a little bit like, oh my God, what is she doing? Ew, what's going on? But the records are pop. It's a pop record. it's a pop show, but the visuals and the ideas and the fashion is really forward thinking. It's completely 150,000% my own. Everything that you see, the disco bra in the video, I made it. The disco bra on stage, I made it. The corset, the chains, it's like everything's been put together so strategically. And if it's not, I'll like have anxiety about it. We'll go on stage because it's got to be perfect. It's got to be exactly me.
Okay, all right. Let's just talk about that for just a second before we get into the next thing here. Let me just go over here. Oh no, wrong one. Sorry, I got so many fucking scenes. All right, I'm back. Jesus Christ, sorry about that. I'm trying to do this all in one shot here. Okay, a great interview, unapologetically honest and true to herself. I don't think that she was trying to glamorize anything that she was doing to make it seem like that she was better than she was. If anything, she asked the questions like, why does anybody care about this? Why does anybody care what I'm doing? And she has that kind of, that interesting conflicting thought with just fame itself and the idea of what it all is. But she takes roots and references from herself being, engulfed in the culture of enjoying somebody else's art and what that did to her. And in her own words, she says, like, you can't buy that kind of thing. You can't buy that kind of like thought process that like makes somebody connect to an artist like that truly just wants to like be in the presence of something that they consider almost godly. And I like the fact that she's like just openly, admittedly coming out and just celebrating the fact of the culture around that and what she pulled from it and what she's trying to achieve. She talked a lot about her writing processes. She talked about her inspirations. She talked about her musical inspirations and her upbringing and everything. A lot of that makes sense, especially with like the intensity of like the Italian like dramaticism. Her approach to how she writes music, I feel like, is just kind of very off the cuff and very free to who she is. And I feel like the record also encompasses a lot of those same vibes that she was showcasing in this interview here about. Sometimes it feels like incredibly put together and like very deliberate. And sometimes it feels like it's just right off the cuff. Her inspiration and her tying together with what fashion means to her is pretty interesting, coming, and understanding that and trying to absorb that from the point of view of somebody that doesn't really know anything about fashion is really cool. I like the fact that she's so hands-on, that she's like actually creating these props, that she's trying to visually build something and not just like buy something to encompass her vision. She wants to be very hands-on with it so she knows it's perfect and what she's doing is coming to life. It's very cool. And then she talked a little bit about the movements and like the stage show and everything. So obviously, I've checked out some of her recent stuff, the Mayhem album, some of her like Guinness World Record breaking song, like performances, like the one in Brazil and stuff. Like in the performances, like to me, I'm like, wow, this song is so beautiful. The song is like, it's soaring, and I was impressed with so many sonic aspects of the music. But the visuals on the other hand, could be a little disturbing. I thought it was cool, but it was also like it kind of took me out of the immersion. It made me stop and think and be like, this is kind of making me a little uncomfortable. It's not exactly flattering to her. You know what I mean? Like her cathartic movements, her jerky movements, her like the death and the like the darkness of it all. I'm like, this is just one hell of a contrast. And I get it. I understand that like it's coming together in some sort of like musical theater way. Do I understand the entirety of the picture just yet? No, but that's what I'm hoping to do with this deep dive anyway. Get an idea of what she's doing. What is this theater that she's bringing to life? And how is it all unfolding in front of everybody in a chronological order? Let's continue because we got a really interesting video up next. I was so excited when I saw somebody drop this one. So this is Lady Gaga at the IKEA concert. So Lady Gaga, in her early career, performed in an IKEA parking lot, and we somehow have the video for it right here. I'm so excited to check it out. This is pretty wild stuff. She talked a lot about her grassroots movements, how she came to fame, the very hands-on approach that she's had to, selling this record, selling herself as a pop star.
I know, we are front row.
All right, not super loud.
Yes, yeah.
This is from 2008.
Stop it, bro. You're scaring me.
Okay, now I need a picture on my phone. Proud of people that would love to see you, so.
Looks like some sort of like radio station.
We really appreciate you guys coming out and donating toys to Radius Children's Hospital. And of course, thanks to Lady Gaga for being here.
All right, cool. Good cause.
Now, are you guys Lady Gaga can hear you guys. Are you guys ready? It's our honor to introduce you, Lady Gaga!
Oh, it's a turntable. I'm like, what the hell is that like squeaky noise? I thought the video was just acting up. Oh my gosh, she's gonna perform on this thing? Dude, talk about humble beginnings, all right? There's no crowd barrier. There's nothing. She's on a 2-foot platform here. Oh my God, she's legit right in a parking lot. All right, but does she care? Does she care? Is she coming out? Is she gonna like fucking go for it in front of, I don't know how many people are in the crowd. It seems like not too many. So, let's see. Look at this. Oh, she's got backup dancers. It's so strange. It's like the middle of the day at IKEA. Random ass dudes just going out trying to get some meatballs and like a desk they can build. I see this.
My name is Lady Gaga, and this is my house.
Here we go. She is going for it. I like that little move. Oh, she's in heels too. I thought she was gonna fall down. Oh wow.
What's up, everybody? Give it up for Raisa. How you doing? Beautiful, rich, bang. Have some fun, this beat is sick. I wanna take a ride on this All right, everybody. My name's Lady Gaga, and I'm here today for Rady's Children's Hospital. You better got toys with you, or I'm gonna sing it. Let's go.
She is jumping in heels. They're right there. The cameraman can't contain himself. He's like, I'm gonna dance with this, so we're just gonna deal with it.
Give it up for 933.
Oh no. Can't get too close to those speakers. Love that line.
I love you guys so much. I love you. It is so important, and it is so cool, and so much cooler to be a part of something like this than anything else. So everybody should be so happy they're here today.
I respect the fuck out of this, man.
Now, I'd like to thank AJ.
Oh, okay. Just AJ. Obviously, there's some cuts. What are these cuts? Maybe it's to avoid copyright or something. She's so goofy.
Amazing music, amazing energy, and you've completely changed. As someone who does radio and watches everything change little by little with music and fashion, you just came and I'm changing it all.
Thank you. Well, that's
awesome.
Thank you. Well, you guys are making a big difference today, so thank you for having me.
Thank you. Everyone give it up for her one more time. She's for San Diego. Lady Gaga, you're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Channel 933, we're live, y'all. IKEA.
Very cool. All right, I respect that almost more than like the performance I saw in Brazil. Like obviously that's record breaking. That was wild. It was a whole multi-million-dollar production and like crazy and everything. But like there's something to me like that I find more respectable about giving it all and just going out there and just like not giving a shit if you're playing in front of a couple hundred people or a couple million people. And still giving like the same kind of performance. Like screw the stage, screw the lighting, screw all of like the extra fancy smoke and mirrors that you get for multi-million-dollar productions, and just going up there on this like wedding band platform and just having backup dancers doing the moves and everything. I mean, I don't know how many people were in the crowd, but like it could have gone back very far. But from what I heard from just the audio cues, like it sounded like it was a fairly small crowd for the most part. And then her coming out and constantly promoting what the radio station was doing there for Toys for Children. I don't know if this is a national thing, but like here in Boston, we have Toys for Tots that we always donate to, and we always do, especially around Christmas. So maybe it's just called something different in California. I think this is where this is. Yeah, San Diego. So I don't know. Very, very cool. I like it, man. I like it. I like when people will just actually go up there, give it all, even if it's not the biggest show, even if it's not the most thing. And then on top of that, like really, truly promoting what, you know, the event was for, you know, which is for a good cause. I think she looked humble, especially as she was signing autographs and like having direct eye contact with somebody. Have you guys seen that new thing? I don't know if you guys like follow pop culture at all with like other artists or anything, but like Miley Cyrus is in so much hot water. I saw a video. She was doing like autographs for her fans, and she was just sitting there talking to some other girl, and she wouldn't even look at people coming up, and she was just like, next, next, next. And I'm like, oh, it was a really bad look. But that's not what I got from Lady Gaga. She was like, I don't know, like she had that Tom Cruise effect, you know, like where she was just locked in with that person and having a moment, which I thought was cool. This is awesome. This was so much fun. No smoke and mirrors, no light show, no massive band behind her, a couple dancers on a 2-foot stage, 2-foot high stage, about a 6-foot stage. And she still went for it. She almost fell off the stage a couple times in heels. All right, what's next on the list? All right, next one is Lady Gaga, No Floods, live in New York City, Columbus Day Parade. And this is from 2005. Okay, so this is years before her, the fame even came out.